This is Off the Break Podcast, presented by Silver Screen Insider.
Welcome to Off the Break Podcast. I'm Cody, and with me are Kyle and Eric.
Hello, all.
Hello.
Hello. It's a rainy Friday here today, guys.
I know. Usually I wake up and the sun's like beaming through my blinds. But then I got up and I was like, what time is it? Usually, but I look out and it's just pure gray.
It is.
That's why.
I could definitely tell as soon as I woke up. I was like, it rained last night. Like I just felt
Right.
in my mood. Like I felt I was just tired. Granted,
like
part
it.
part of that might be from Dark Phoenix I saw last night, but
Right. You were
it
at the late
still,
show.
Still got the hangover from it. But
This weather match your time
It really
watching that
did.
movie.
to
Well, I
say
mean,
the
we'll-
least.
We'll get to that.
Sure.
We'll get to your Dark Phoenix reaction
Yeah.
on this podcast. I have so many questions for you.
I'll
You were kind of surprised by them.
be able to answer them all most likely.
And then you guys have seen Ma and Brightburn, so we thought we'd catch up with,
Yeah, we do a quick little
Yeah.
catch up, just give
Right.
our quick thoughts.
because you wrote some good reviews of those, so we'd like to highlight that. And then we found out that a partner's daughter here in the firm, she's 15. She didn't know what Men in Black was. Let that sink in, people. She didn't know what Men in Black was.
I feel like we're gonna have to start getting used to this.
No, we're not that old, okay? We are not that
Well, I mean,
old.
yeah, because we are
We're
all
hip
exactly
and
the same
young.
age.
Yeah. We were all in college together.
No, that one I'm really looking forward to because Men in Black
Yeah.
is a strange kind of franchise that I
Right.
would love to discuss.
It is. I mean, we'll get to that too. But that's kind of what we have on our plate.
But
And
there
then we have
are
the
teenagers that don't know what it is. It blows
And-
my mind.
and then we have the Ford v Ferrari trailer and the Ad
Yeah.
Astra trailer.
Both
So,
movies I've been anticipating for, so I'm glad that we get to discuss that as well.
Me too.
One looks good.
I might be
One-
agreeing with you there, but
one
we'll,
looks
again,
really
good.
again, these are all just teases.
Yeah.
We're so much teasing going on.
Both.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
So Kyle, I think you should just kick it off. How was Dark Phoenix?
It,
If people for some reason don't know, Dark Phoenix is the last X-Men movie released by Fox before they got merged with Disney.
It follows Jean Grey, played by Sophie Turner. And she has a run-in with a cosmic element, and then it heightens her powers, and she becomes uncontrollable. And
Is
the
it
X-Men have to go after her.
Is it technically true to say it's not a remake of The Last Stand, the third X-Men movie?
yes, but it's a lot more focused.
But it's the same general story beats kind of
As The Last Stand, no
premise.
It's just the same premise as
Basically, Jean Grey, one of their own, starts potentially going bad.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that sort of same premise, but what Kimberg did, and I appreciate this, he wrote The Last Stand, and I think we can all agree that X-Men The Last Stand is very muddled, very all over the place, too many ideas at once.
I mean, I haven't seen it in probably 12 years,
Which,
but
yeah,
I'll
I
agree,
don't blame
I'll
you
agree
for.
with you.
But this one at least is more focused on the actual story of Jean Grey and her being able to not be controlling these new powers that she has, and it starts to hurt her and the rest of the team of the X-Men, and I appreciate that at least. But he's also the director of this movie, and he's the first-time director as well, and it really does show in this product. You can tell that instead of focusing on one thing and be able to come up with something good out of it, he had a hard time juggling between the both of them. Like the writing,
He wrote this one too, right?
he wrote this one too, yeah, and he had a hard time juggling both of those titles. I think, like the directing, there's a lot of shots that aren't very well thought out, very well executed. There's a lot of writing that feels lazy and tiresome and doesn't quite add on to the ideas that he was setting out for. And I think that same type of laziness also kind of showed through the cast, which is crazy because it's a talented cast. But
Oh, you mean not really caring to
Yeah.
give it their all?
yes, exactly.
Phoning it in?
Not for all of them. Not all of them phoned it in, but
Did
you
Jennifer
can tell
Lawrence phone it in?
she does a bit better than Apocalypse. But that's not saying much.
Yeah, is that
That's
saying
not
anything?
saying much. But it's not as much for most of them that they were phoning it in. They just didn't have that same love for their characters or the property as compared to a First Class or a Days of Future Past, where you can tell they were really into their script, they're really into their characters, and it showed. Here it shows that they know that this is the end, but it's an ending that doesn't really matter. So they're just there for the paycheck.
That's so sad.
And it really transfers to the audiences, I think, because I felt it in my audience. That's for sure. I felt that as the movie. I'm serious. Like as soon.
The grand finale of the X-Men series. Yay.
Yeah,
We all got
exactly.
paid. Our check's clear.
Well,
Yay.
meanwhile, everyone in the seats are like, we spend money on this.
Well, the thing I keep seeing popping up from different publications and critics and stuff is that as the X-Men series went on, they kind of just ran out of ideas for their stories, and so they all
Especially
started
after
seeming
Days of
really
Future Past.
repetitive.
Yeah,
you know, it's
especially after that.
mutants are discriminated against, and it's really sad.
But at least,
But they don't have any new ideas.
What makes
of
them different
stories
also makes
to-
them special.
yeah, like
But they don't realize it.
that's really the thing. Like
The beauty is within.
I feel like after Days of Future Past, for what the story that I told, for the stakes that I had, for the subtext of mutants versus normal humans, I felt all of that was just like the culmination that could have been a really epic finale. But after that, they didn't know where to go. Like you felt it in
Well,
Bryan
yeah, I mean-
Singer's Apocalypse, and you feel it with Kinberg, who's trying to retell a famous comic book story that failed the first time, but but it just doesn't, unfortunately, just doesn't matter anymore.
Days of Future Past had that like ambitious, original like 2000 X-Men actors meeting like the new first class people. And,
Yeah.
and, like time travel and all that. It was this very ambitious sci-fi comic booky type story.
Yeah.
And since then, I feel like audiences have shown that they're game for that. You know, like they're not gonna be too weirded out if comic book stories go to space or bring in time travel or bring in wizards or
Yeah.
bring in giant purple. You know, like Endgame.
Yeah, I
is,
mean, look at
Endgame, Infinity War and Endgame is like what?
Yeah,
you know,
and
compared to what
especially-
superhero movies used to be like.
Especially post Days of Future Past,
But-
so many superhero movies go above and beyond.
Yeah, but the X-Men movies, other than like Logan, have not really dared to do anything.
Different.
Just like colored beams in the sky.
Deadpool at least was something a bit different to the franchise, so I'll give
Yeah.
it that too.
It's hard because
but I get what
those
you're
are
saying,
technically
though.
X-Men movies.
Right.
Yeah,
But when I say X-Men movies, I
you
mean
like
the movies like
core
with
X-Men?
Yeah, like the movies with
not
X-Men.
the spin-off types, right?
Yeah.
right. Okay.
I feel like if I looked at a trailer from Dark Phoenix or Apocalypse or the other ones, I'm seeing the exact same characters, look the exact same way, and have the exact same lines, and there's just no change in it. But when you look at like Captain America, and then you look at Avengers, and then you look at Endgame, and you look at
whether
these,
it's
they're-
like a little thing like their costume changes or he grows a beard.
he grows a beard. It's different.
Yeah, they're little things, but they signify growth and change.
Even the overall tone, like Captain
Oh,
America
yeah.
in First Avenger, he was like, I want to say plucky, but he was enthusiastic. You felt energy in him. And then by Endgame, he was just so weathered and just so worn. And so there was obvious character development there, but I don't get that at all from the X-Men films.
They've just been kind of grim.
Not for
Although
all of them. that's
Professor
for sure.
X is bald now. James McAvoy is wearing a
You-
bald cap.
It's funny because watching him in Dark Phoenix, like I could tell that he was also preparing for Glass because he looked a bit bulkier, and and you could
Like,
like
whoa,
some of
Professor
his facial
Xavier's been hitting
expressions.
the weights.
Some of his facial expressions even looked like he was preparing for Glass as well. So it was just.
I guess
a
that
little-
makes
it's
sense,
just
yeah,
funny.
because this thing's scheduling has just been a nightmare.
It's just been a long, endless cycle for them. Yeah, yeah. It's so.
Okay. So I have a question.
It's upsetting. It's upsetting.
Jean Grey. Okay, for my first question, Jessica Chastain, she's the villain, right?
is
in
she?
this?
She looks like a
I don't
creepy
know.
albino witch lady.
I don't know.
What is her goal? Is her goal
don't know.
to make Jean Grey freak out and destroy
This is
everybody?
the
I don't
running
know.
theme, Cody. He doesn't know.
I'm not saying this to avoid spoilers because there's absolutely nothing to spoil here, but I don't know.
He saw the movie like
It's
12
lazy
hours
writing.
ago. It's
Yeah.
fresh in his
It's-
mind, but he doesn't know.
I don't
It
know
didn't
what her
tell
name
you.
was. I don't know where she came from. I know she wants the power, but I don't
The
know
power?
if she.
she-
That made me think of He-Man.
Was
when
she
you
a
said that I have the
disciple
power.
I
of
was gonna say,
Apocalypse?
Grayskull?
Was she like a disciple of Apocalypse? Was she
No.
connected to him in
No.
any way? Because like he saw the power in her at the end of Apocalypse and was like,
Oh,
you will
well,
do what I could not do before.
It goes to show how muddled the X-Men timeline is because they redo that origin, kind of.
Oh, that doesn't happen.
Forget
at
about
all?
Apocalypse. Yeah. Forget what you saw with her in
I
Apocalypse.
thought that was the only good part at the end was like.
Oh, I did too. I did too. Yeah. It's,
does Jean die at the end of this movie? Is that a big spoiler?
I mean,
Does-
maybe, but I feel like this is the
Maybe,
kind of
but it
movie
also
where people
doesn't-
don't really care.
Does Cyclops have to kill her the way that Wolverine had to kill
No.
the
Oh
Jean
yeah,
Grey in
Wolverine
the
did
other
kill
one?
her.
No, there's
before
not
That
he
was
that-
died.
like the best.
there's not a moment
dramatic
like that.
'cause
Wolverine
he's like
scene.
climbing up the
And he's getting-
hill, and
he's
his
getting
skin's being ripped
yeah,
apart. You
pulled
see
away.
his metal skeleton.
And then he has
remember
to,
that part, huh?
and then
I
he
do.
no,
I remember
is a good
that, and I
scene.
remember.
and then his claws go into her, and then he like screams this guttural cry because
he's
he's
so- yeah, he's-
and
ugh.
it calms down and she falls in his arms.
Say what we
Yeah,
will
see, I
about
remember-
Last Stand, but that's a good scene.
I remember
That is a
key.
really
I
good
remember
scene.
key images and things like that. Like, doesn't Cyclops die at the very beginning of that movie?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
At least Cyclops gets a little bit more attention
So,
here.
so does Cyclops have to do the same thing? In
no,
this
it's
one?
not. It's not that kind of ending.
Does she die?
Oh,
I made a gesture of whether they're right or not. I'm not quite sure if I should spoil that. I know it
Yeah.
doesn't matter, but
So
maybe for some people.
because I'm
but-
so out of the loop with the X-Men movies, this and Apocalypse are the only two movies where the Sophie Turner Jean Grey appears, right?
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, she kind of
Yeah.
came out of nowhere in the Apocalypse movie.
as did the rest of them.
Right.
Okay.
But I will say she was
wondering.
she was probably like trying the hardest.
Okay. You can
She
you,
was doing a very good
you
job.
can thumbs up, thumbs down this one. Does she kill Mystique? And does that set off the X-Men?
Oh no, that's already been spoiled. Yeah, so she kills Mystique.
In that scene in
Yeah,
the
Kinberg
beginning?
spoiled that
here-
like a few days
here's
after
the,
that
Here's
trailer.
the big major question, because I'm sure
It was
there's a
spoiled
lot.
on Kimmel actually. Jimmy Kimmel was like, "Hey, Mystique, you died," and she's like, "All right, sure, yeah, I died."
She's like, I really
okay.
don't care.
yeah, neither does
But-
Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel
But the
came
thing,
out that was
the
like,
thing I want to know is, first of all, I'm not sure. Did they know that this was gonna be the last X-Men movie when they first put it into
I think
production?
midway through production.
Okay.
If I remember
So,
the timeline, it's
follow-up
probably
question:
around then.
does this, whether or not it's good or bad, does this movie have a sense of like finality? Like, does it wrap it up, or does it just end, and then you just know, like, okay, there's not going to be any others, or does it make a point of somehow giving you like it's the end? You know what I'm saying?
No,
No.
It just
No.
kind of ends like
no,
it was.
it
any
has
other
a nice
movie?
scene at the end, between Magneto and Professor X. That is a nice callback to First Class, but it doesn't make you feel like, okay, that's the end. Now I feel good. It's like, well, that happened.
Well, I mean, like Endgame. Obviously, it's not the end, but it's the end of this phase. It's
Of that
obvious that it's
era
the
of-
end. The story arcs are come to a close. Character arcs end.
It's not that.
It's not like that. It's just like,
I mean, it's hard to get close to that, but it doesn't.
but it
It's
doesn't
not.
try to. Is what I'm saying. It just ends its own story, and
Yeah.
you just know that there's not going to be any others.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does Beast like want to get revenge for Jean or for Mystique's death?
Yeah.
Does
he love her?
Because he rejected her and she had to go with Magneto.
Was that in Apocalypse?
No,
I don't know.
that was in the beginning, the first one, First Class. They were like
It's a whole
together.
Oh, I don't remember that.
And-
It's because they're both blue.
No, it was because they
No,
were
it's
together.
because of true love,
and then
Eric.
he couldn't accept like his weird feet, and then he experimented on
Oh,
himself.
that's right.
And then he
They're
didn't
like,
want to
hey,
go.
we both are.
Yeah, and then he didn't want to go with her, so she went with Magneto.
Yeah, but then she came back in Apocalypse. Whatever.
Yeah.
She like went with Magneto, like dated him.
Oh yeah.
Well,
there was
there was hints at that they.
Like
Yeah,
she
was
was
a
in-
little bit older
she
than
was in-
Mystique.
Well,
Yeah, she was in bed as Jennifer Lawrence, and he's like, "No, take that off." And she like goes back to being Mystique, and they make love in bed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember liking First Class, but I don't remember that.
No, First Class is great. Everyone should go watch First Class.
I remember
So
Professor Xavier getting shot in the spine.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
what I remember.
that scene is. That's a very good
That's
scene.
probably the only thing I remember.
But it's so good though. What was the question again? Oh yeah, Beast. Who cares? It's
Well, I do. I'm gonna answer the question.
You said you kind of want to see it. Just
do.
go see it and
wait,
find out
I'm
all
sorry.
the
I actually
answers.
don't remember the question. Beast.
Like,
what?
does he want revenge?
Oh yeah, no, he
For-
wants. Yeah, he wants revenge.
Okay.
Does he get it?
Does he get it?
No,
Does
Oh.
Magneto die?
no.
No, because there was that scene with him at the end. He just said.
What happens in the scene? He could have died in that scene. It could have been like a beautiful scene where Magneto's
No,
like on
he
his
didn't die.
deathbed.
It's just a callback to a moment that they had in First Class.
Would it
About
go
them
over
being
my
brothers?
Yes.
head? Okay.
Is it about them? Is it about them being brothers?
No.
Are they
Oh.
brothers?
No, they're
No,
not.
it's just
But they always-
symbolic
Oh,
brothers.
okay.
Symbolic brothers.
They've been together.
That is
from the
one thing, though, I
beginning.
do genuinely, I want to give the X-Men series as a whole credit for. I do really like the Xavier-Magneto relationship.
Yeah, that's always been good.
I really like that dynamic. You don't really see that in too many other comic book movies, superhero movies.
It's crazy that they pulled it off twice. They pulled it off with McKellen and Stewart, and then they were able to do it again with Fassbender and McAvoy.
Well, that's probably why the best thing about one of the best things about First Class was I feel like they really did nail the younger versions of all the people.
Yeah, I
the
think so, too.
understudies.
Yeah, and also it was just
X-Men.
it also was just
Right.
new. Like it was a fresh, almost soft reboot to the franchise that was needed at the time because it was
Oh, X-Men.
dying thanks to Last Stand and Origins,
then
and they
they did-
needed something
They're
to
like,
happen.
let's go back to Last Stand and redo it because that went so
Let's just
well.
do it again. That was kind of cool the first time, right? But we can do it better.
All right. Well, it won't be number one this
It's
weekend.
a sad. It's sad that it's going out on a whimper because the X-Men series they started the whole
Yeah, I
renaissance
did-
of the superhero genre.
Exactly. I did want to bring
Right.
that up too. Like it really is a shame that it's ending the way that it is ending because, like you said, Eric, it helped launch
Yeah,
the
year
superhero
2000.
genre to what it is today. Like that genre was untouchable because no one thought it would work, and
A lot of people like to
yeah,
say Spider-Man, which was probably the biggest one. That was like the big break for the genre.
yeah, it definitely
But
helped.
Yeah, X-Men came out 2 years before Spider-Man came
Mm-hmm.
out, and people are like, "Whoa, okay, I guess you can make like a live action version of the story
Yeah.
with actual big name actors,
Yeah,
and have it not be totally unbelievable."
yeah, and while it's sad that it's ending, it's also kind of a sigh of relief, honestly. Like at least we're bringing this property over to a guy that not only knows like how to handle superhero movies and connectivity and making fresh new stories in Kevin Feige, but he also has had experience in the X-Men franchise because he used to be a producer on some of those movies. So at least
I did
he's
not know
seen
that.
like the good and the bad of that franchise,
Yeah.
and
He's like,
could
"Guys, I've
probably be
seen
able
it
to pull
all.
it off."
Just give it
Yeah.
to me."
I know we keep
I'll set
saying
it straight.
it's over, but it's not over.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not over.
this-
the
this-
Fox,
the Fox,
Yeah.
the Fox X-Men
what we
movies
know of
definitely
it.
had their own identity compared
Yeah.
to the Marvel
Right.
movies.
I do think that they need a long break from it though. Like,
Well, I
don't-
think it's gonna be.
don't do it in like 2-3 years. I would actually
No.
want to wait until
I'm
like
pretty
4 or
sure Kevin
5.
Feige has gone on record multiple times saying like, yeah, technically we have the X-Men rights now, but don't hold your breath. It's gonna be a long time.
which I'm totally okay with.
Do you
I-
trust him when it says long time? Because we all know how you feel about Star Wars.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I don't trust
I'm
him.
saying this with a
But
grain
I
of
don't
salt.
care enough about the X-Men anyways. So if he's like, yeah, we're gonna take a really long break, like it's not gonna be until at least 2021 before we have the X-Men join the Avengers.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll be able to believe in Feige more, but yeah,
That's too
so
bad.
it's very disappointing, especially with the circumstances.
What can you do? Last thing we'll say about it, is it as bad as the Rotten Tomato score says it is? Because it's the worst reviewed X-Men movie in the franchise, technically.
And we all agree that should not be that movie. It should be either
I haven't
the
seen it,
Apocalypse
but
or Origin.
I haven't seen Apocalypse either, but Origins is
No,
terrible.
It's not a good X-Men movie to say the least, but at least it's not so bad to where you'll get angry by it. Like I was just
Is it mostly
I
just
was
kind of
just
sad?
bored and
Just
sad.
like, oh, come on.
I was just bored and
guys.
sad when seeing the bad stuff of it. Like, yes, Origins may have like 1 or 2 cool things, but I think that's way more of a train wreck than what this is. So no, I don't really care about those scores to begin with anyway. I try to kind of avoid those, but no, I don't think those are really that warranted.
I think Apocalypse just wasted Apocalypse, the villain. It just
Oh yeah, it's
I had never really
wasted
seen him
It
up
did-
close.
they wasted
and
Oscar
so-
Isaac.
Oh,
Yeah, I
know.
had never
Which you
seen him
can't
up
do.
close, so I
Yeah.
went on Google Images and I was like, okay, I guess it was Oscar Isaac, and I looked
Yeah.
at him and the prosthetics on him looked so silly.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because he wasn't in motion, but the
He's
still
such a-
images.
That
was
might
like-
be a part
He
of
had the
it
potential to be such a cool villain. Like, he could have truly been the first super villain, but he was ancient, which is even better. And he could go into other people's, like, take over other people's bodies
too. Could
and
have
stuff.
been the Thanos before Thanos.
Yeah, transferred his essence. So he could have transferred his
Who beat
essence
him?
into a Jean Grey.
Jean
as,
did
as the
with her
Phoenix.
Phoenix powers, even though she actually doesn't have them yet.
Yeah.
Allegedly. The writing's a mess. The
Does Dark
writing's not
Phoenix
good.
take place before Apocalypse?
It takes place after, but they retconned how the Phoenix.
I don't even
part-
care anymore.
Yeah, no. The point is the writing's not good. It's very lazy and not well thought out.
Why do they have
it's too bad.
Kimber keep writing when it's
Because nobody else wanted to.
when it's obvious he's not that good a writer?
I only
Probably
I
'cause he
know
was
for
good
sure he only
earlier
did
on.
The Last Stand. I'm trying to remember the other.
I feel like because
ones
he's been writing
written.
the X-Men movies for like the entire
Oh, maybe-
time.
Writing
at-
and producing.
So
Yeah.
he
some
obviously
point-
knows them. I feel like the universe just got so convoluted that no amount of
At
writing
some
could
point,
save
they
it.
needed fresh eyes on it or
Yeah.
a fresh
yeah.
perspective. You get so bogged down,
Yeah.
and
At
then
that
you
point,
get
they
so
probably.
possessive of your creativity and your ideas that
And I don't want to blame like him
He was
all the way, but I feel like they were just like, yeah, these X-Men movies.
he was able to screenwrite Days of Future Past. But then he also did the screenwriting for Last Stand and Fantastic Four and X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
definitely a lot more misses than hits. But
how
he
many
has
times
been.
do you give this guy a chance before you're like, I don't think you're doing a good job. Let's
I
bring
feel like
somebody
they
else
just
in.
didn't care about the X-Men movies that much when they saw that there was really no saving them. So like, just let him keep doing it.
I mean, the
we're
fact
making,
that they
we're making
sad.
our,
the fact
we're
that they
making
let
money
him
on them.
direct it.
It's because no one else wanted to.
I guess
That's my
yeah.
theory.
No,
And he's also been a long time
it
producer on
can't
this
be if
franchise.
no one else
like, he's
wants
one of the
to. You know how
longest
many
ones.
hungry young directors there are that probably had a passion that would be like, I will remake this and do so good.
Oh, for
cheap.
sure. But Fox probably also knew like it didn't matter anymore.
Yeah, they're like this
It's
guy. At
possible.
least
I
he
don't know.
knows it. He's been writing them for years, for better or worse.
or
Just-
Fox loves Kinberg.
That's
yeah,
another
maybe.
thing.
Maybe.
I don't think
Like, yeah,
Feige.
keep doing what you're doing.
I don't think Feige's going to be hiring Kinberg for even a producing,
God, I
maybe a
hope not.
producing role, but it
Aw.
might be the smallest of producing roles.
I hope not.
I'd be very surprised that he hired him to like write or direct an X-Men movie. Maybe producing.
He
Oh, well.
ruined I'm
Well.
gonna put it on him. At the core of every movie is the story and the writing. I mean,
Yeah,
a director can
yeah.
only add so many scenes or do shots in a certain way or edit it, but at the core, it's always the writing. And if that fails, I think the whole thing fails. So yeah, I'm
Yeah, I'm
putting
right
it
there
on
with you.
him.
Well, I guess we could talk about two marginally better movies.
I also saw Rocketman too, so I can.
Oh yeah, I saw Rocketman too.
Oh, we
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
talk
we haven't
about
even
that.
talked
saw
about
Rocketman.
We haven't even talked about
Hey!
Rocketman. Well,
So we got
Rocketman is
three.
a much better movie.
Oh my God, it's fantastic.
than Dark Phoenix.
Holy cow! I love it.
Yeah, well, we don't want to spend too much time on these because they're kind of old news. But yeah, Rocketman, I loved it. I actually wasn't super familiar with Elton John's music outside of
Really?
like Rocketman and
What?
Tiny Dancer. Yeah. Well, they have like 30 albums. Him and Bernie have like 30 albums. They probably have like 400 songs. So it's like, well, yeah, I don't know a whole lot of them. But so not only did I really enjoy the movie and the presentation of it, but it was just like, whoa, I like this guy's music. These guys' music too. It was just like a perfect combination.
What I really appreciate out of it was that it was informative about Elton John's life and his career and the mental and physical issues that he had going on throughout his career, while also playing out in almost like a fantasy musical-esque type of story
absolutely.
to help convey the emotions that he had and to convey the timeline that he was going through. So it was like a different type of biopic to see, but one that was entertaining, but you still got the emotional sense out of Elton John, and that's especially portrayed well by Taron Egerton. Oh my God,
Yeah,
He
he
was
was great.
so
Yeah,
amazing.
he was really good.
Like I'm hoping Oscars for him.
I know.
this year. I hope people don't forget about.
I
this
would like that,
performance.
but I don't think it's gonna
I don't
happen.
think it's gonna
I'm
happen.
gonna.
They're not gonna do
praying-
another like musical representation.
No, it's the politics of it. Rami Malek
Yeah.
stole the Oscar from him.
There's
It's-
no way that
yeah.
he would ever win without just getting totally crapped on by every publication. Like, oh, this is the new formula for Oscars. Just play a famous musician.
That's so stupid though, because
That's
Taron.
stupid, but it's how it works.
I love
Yeah.
Taron. He is such. I already saw that he was a star in like the Kingsman franchise, but this puts him over the map that he's a star and like an actor's actor. Like he can be able to do it all. Like
He's a showman.
He did his own
Like Hugh
singing,
Jackman.
his own dancing. He did his own stunts. It was
Wore the-
Elton
he
John
wore the
growing
bald
up
cap?
that I was seeing.
Wore
He
the ball. Well, no, they thinned his hair
Yeah,
out.
they did.
Yeah,
they
his hair,
thinned his
yeah.
hair out,
Oh,
and
no,
so
There's
that's really
interviews.
ill.
yeah, he said he was
there's
really
interviews where
he said he was really
yeah.
scared that his hair wasn't gonna grow back. I was like, yeah, I would be too, because it's like, man, yeah, he looks like Elton John, but whew.
No, you
That's
can
amazing.
you can
that
just
loves him even more now for
you
that.
can just tell that there was so much love for wanting to do this project. Like from
Yeah.
Dexter Fletcher in the director's chair to Elton John giving the blessing that Taron Egerton should play him to just the writing and how it was visually pleasing and yeah, I keep thinking
What's
about
your
it.
guys' criticism? Because I told you mine last week that it was
Maybe-
just too dark. It didn't end on
I
a
didn't
happier
have
note.
I didn't have that problem.
No, I didn't have that either.
I
And
guess
that might be the difference between not only like age but like sex too. Like I have a mom with kids.
yeah,
and
I mean
so-
maybe.
and you're young guys, so maybe like that doesn't
Personal
get
taste,
to
too.
Maybe
you.
Like
I
we-
guess
yeah.
sometimes the time between the more fantastical surreal elements, like breaking out into dance or something like that. Sometimes there was a lot of those in a short period, and then sometimes it was a really long stretch of a more conventional movie, and then another random kind of thing like that. So maybe the balance of it was a little off. But I'm sure if I sat down and I tried to pick it apart, I would find some more. But
Right.
I don't know. It was just a thoroughly enjoyable movie.
For me, I think there was just a few certain moments in his career that were less addressed than others, but at the same time, it got addressed enough for me through the acting. Which is weird to say. Like, I wanted some more information about the event in general for some parts of his career as compared to the other ones. But at the same time, though, like the acting was so well done by all of these actors that I was able to get enough information about that event because of them.
I guess I would have liked to know specifically like which albums he was working on at which point in the movie,
Right.
because like they
Timeline,
go through like his greatest hits and like his biggest songs, but at the time they talk about how he was responsible for 5% of all record sales, but they don't really ever, I don't think they ever say a single album name in the movie. It's just kind of like this vague number of hit singles. I would have liked to get a little bit more specific with the actual.
That is one thing Bohemian Rhapsody did pretty good, was be like, we did this album and this is the stuff, and then we did this album and this is the song, and it moved in like I would say sort of a chronological order that way. Like you kind of knew where they were at their point.
Well, I guess that's kind of the thing, is sometimes it was hard to keep track of what year and at what point in his career it was at, because really the only way you can kind of keep track is how much hair he has,
Right.
So
And how big he gets.
yeah. So yeah, I guess that there are other things that I'm sure people would criticize, like when he marries, I forget her name.
Renata, I think.
Yeah, it's all of like 5 seconds, but
Yeah,
in real life it's
that
like
was a bit
4
weird.
years. But I feel like really when you think about it, probably nothing really happened between them in those 4 years. It was just 4 awkward, kind of sad years of him denying who he is and sadly roping somebody in with him.
Right.
But yeah, I guess I would have liked a little bit more clarity with the specific albums and music and the time in which they came out.
Yeah, I would be right there with you. Didn't bother me too much, but I could see that being a criticism. That's legit.
It's one of those movies where the major bad things are only going to stand out in hindsight when I think about it.
Yeah.
Right.
But in the act of watching the movie, I was totally engaged.
Mm-hmm. No, this movie is fantastic.
That's so funny because my dad and I both were like, this is so dark. This is not like the movie we thought we were getting.
It was dark.
It's sad.
But it was honest. I mean, like it's like his vices and struggles are some of the most documented, like publicized things at the time.
Yeah.
That's like all people cared about.
I guess maybe I was going in thinking this was more of a movie that would talk about that and his success and more of his career. And it just so was about that, the drug use and stuff. Like it was all about his demons and very little about his success.
Yeah, it's a
and
movie...
I think that's the balance that I didn't like. I don't
know. I can see that, but
that didn't
very
surprise
early
me
on,
as much
the
as
fact
it did
that
for
it
you,
opened with him
honestly,
in
so.
rehab, I was like, okay, this is probably gonna be. It's gonna take this rehab room and make that kind of like a microcosm for the whole rise, fall, rise journey that he goes through. It's like the self-redemption kind of thing, because so much of it was self-loathing.
Oh, I don't.
And at the end, he
that.
learns to love himself and move forward.
I just feel like I wouldn't mind that if that was maybe even like 3/4 of the movie, and then 1/4 was him coming from that, because he started his AIDS foundation after that. He met his husband after that. Like there were so many good things that happened after that is like not touched on at all.
But I feel like those things wouldn't necessarily mesh with the story the movie was telling, though. Like,
why wouldn't it have meshed? It would have been a phoenix rising from the ashes. It would have been
because
his second redemption.
I feel like
Phoenix.
I feel like that little hint we got of him getting out of it and finally regaining control of himself and learning to let go of the stuff that he had been obsessed with and drowning in for his whole life. That was all the redemption I need, because we all know he's still alive. He's still making albums. So I feel like it ends on the high point where you realize he's gonna be okay, instead of also just like going up and then just kind of coasting on like the happy stuff. I feel like it's just like a momentum thing. It's like you end at the peak and just let it be, instead of like, okay, he's good, and then just hover there for another 20-30 minutes just so you can see some more things that happen to him on screen.
It was more of, for me, a palate cleanser. It's not like
I get
hovering.
it.
It's more of like, okay, I lived through that.
I guess I thought the I'm Still
good.
Standing music video recreation was the perfect palate cleanser. That was beautiful. Because I had seen the actual music video.
Yeah.
That was one of the Elton John songs I was familiar with, and I saw that and I was like, oh, this is beautiful. I love it.
I only like
that was a smart way to do it.
He's so dorky.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like obsessed with like looking at like old interviews of Elton afterwards, like what he looked like in the 70s. And I was just like, I love this guy. He's hilarious, but he's so shy in his interviews. He's wearing these huge, fantastic outfits, but he's just kind of like answering questions like this.
Those
just
are his
like,
masks.
Yeah.
He hides behind that. That's showmanship and stagery, and he hides behind it. I feel like that's what he did with the movie to a certain extent. It was all...
Oh, definitely.
It was
yeah.
flash and awe and, outrageous dance numbers and things like that to kind of mask the pain. You still got it, and you still got all this stuff. It's just definitely his showy way of being like, I'm trying to be honest, but I can't do it fully without the production.
Which in and itself is beautiful and sad.
Yeah.
Absolutely fitting.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't saying that was a criticism, but it's definitely like something I noticed.
Yeah.
I'm sure
And
that's probably
we talked about that in the
if they're going to
last
be true to
podcast.
the character of Elton John was very much, there's that scene of him, in the green room before he goes out in the baseball outfit, and he's like trying to make himself smile, and
Yep.
he has to
After
take a couple bumps.
Right after he had his overdose.
Yeah. So it's very much just that putting on that facade that is the only thing other people are going to see. So they're like, oh, he's this like crazy, effeminate, out there showman, but then nobody sees the true him.
Right.
Ironically.
I just find that the style of the movie is so interesting because if you've ever seen him in concert, he doesn't talk a lot, like in between the songs
you just
and
let
stuff.
let the music
Just
speak
lets the
for
music
itself.
play, and I feel like the movie is very much like that. There wasn't a lot of dialogue. There wasn't a lot of actual, communication. It was not a lot of telling you his feelings. It was a lot of show.
Yeah, that's what I loved about it. Like if you listen to the Bernie's lyrics and how Elton interprets them and like makes the music to them, that tells you really all you need to know. I thought
I
that
really
was
love
beautiful.
their relationship,
Oh, that
especially
was like my favorite part.
especially when he does interviews now. Bernie does, and he's like, "I don't know what I was writing. I thought the lyrics were garbage, but he made it a masterpiece."
Yeah, so good.
Like, what's the song he does? The duet. Bernie wrote that.
Oh,
Don't Go Breaking My Heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said that he hated that song, and it was like this huge hit when Elton got it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Elton's
it's like
"No, we're doing
anything. You
this."
strip away what you actually hear and just look at the words. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, okay.
Yep, that's a song.
No, it's really good, and I don't want to take anything away from Bohemian Rhapsody because it's a completely different style of biopic, and I think it marries, that story very well. And Rami Malek did a great job in that. He was the best part of that movie, but this movie is so much better, even if it is dark. And I wish there was more happy things in it.
Well,
I do want to ask, what are your guys' favorite Elton John songs? You guys got any that you can think of?
I've been trying to decide that.
I'm Still Standing. It's always a favorite of mine.
Especially when Taron Egerton sings it. Because he sings it in Sing, as the animated gorilla, and it's so good.
oh yeah, that is the song he sings, isn't it?
Yeah. And then his dad comes and he's like, breaks out of prison to come see him after he gets done with it.
Terrible lesson to kids, but it's
I know,
heartfelt.
it's so good. I don't know. Like Tiny Dancer's really good.
I was thinking about that one too.
I like the Crocodiles one. I can't remember the name of that, but that one's good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying.
I don't
Candle
know.
in
I
the
couldn't
Wind
say.
is really
I
good.
couldn't say. I'm still like new to all of the Elton
Well,
John stuff.
now you got a whole.
Oh, I've been going through.
Good,
I've been going
good.
through.
Yeah, I have a lot. I like them.
I mean, there's never a bad one, right?
Benny and the Jets is so fun.
That is a fun one. That is a fun one.
Yeah, I love it.
But
Yeah. Anyway, I was just curious.
Do you have a favorite? You didn't say.
Benny the Jets is always one I think people kind of forget about.
You think really? I thought that would be like his top 5.
Oh, really? I don't know. That one I just never. I think for some people it just never comes to mind. But maybe I'm wrong. Like I'm not a Elton John expert by any means. But yeah, that one, Tiny Dancer. Like I said, if there's never a bad one.
No, I don't think there is.
well,
Candle in the Wind, the Princess Diana song. They always bring that up, but that is such a pretty song.
Mm-hmm.
it's actually the re-recorded version. I like them both. But
Yeah. So which movie next do we want to talk
anyway,
about?
let's quickly talk about Ma and Brightburn.
Yeah.
Got carried
They came out
got
last
carried
week.
away with
They came out
Rocketman.
last week
Mm-hmm.
and did okay.
Ma?
Yeah, both
Yeah.
of them did okay.
Ma actually did open surprisingly well.
25, and then Brightburn did what?
6.
Well, I couldn't tell you.
Well, no, actually, it made.
I think Brightburn
like
did more
10.
than Ma, didn't it?
When it came out? Brightburn was the week before.
Yeah, Brightburn was the week
Oh,
before, so that's
okay.
why it probably
That's
made
probably
more.
why,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Probably. That is why.
Oh.
Well, we don't have to touch on Brightburn. We all know that was bad. So let's talk about Ma.
Was it bad, Kyle?
It wasn't that bad. it just didn't execute thoroughly on the cool
Evil
concept
Superman?
that it had.
That's kind of the criticism I have with Ma.
Yeah.
I mean-
well, it just could have been a little bit more thought out in executing this cool concept. But other than that, though, it's fine.
That's my main criticism with Ma. So obviously I was really excited because I
Yeah,
wanted
you
Ma
were.
to be like this just crazy kill all the teenagers in the most screwed up horrific ways, and the
B-rated
fact that
horror.
Octavia Spencer was going to be the one doing it I thought was absolutely hilarious, and I
Yeah.
needed to see it. But I went and saw it, and when it turns out that the main teenage girl is like the main character, I was like, oh, what? Like, I wanted Ma to be like the main character. I wanted us to follow her and see this like mental instability and this just downward spiral. But it just turned out to be another kind of average beat by beat Blumhouse movie. You know, a bunch of teenagers want alcohol. She gets them alcohol, and I don't know. It was just a really plain movie. It did not fulfill or go anywhere with its premise, really, because the character of Ma is really, really interesting.
Right.
I liked her a lot. Her name is Sue-Ann, and you get a sense that she's just like this shut-in, she's a little unstable, but you also kind of feel bad for her in a way.
Right.
And she works at the vet, and Allison Janney is her boss, and their scenes are just hilarious. Like, I don't know. They're all the scenes with Octavia Spencer. They're great. I loved them. I was laughing. I was really the only one laughing in the theater. I don't know what was up with the other people, but
They were probably asking, why is this guy laughing at this movie?
Weirdo.
yeah. There's a scene where she's like injecting Luke Evans with dog blood because he's a dog. And I was like laughing hysterically, and people were like, "Oh my god, like, no, this isn't scary. Come on."
Well, that's disappointing because when Octavia Spencer and the director, I can't remember.
Tate Taylor.
Yeah,
Tate.
They came out and on the CinemaCon stage and to talk about Ma, and she was saying how she had done all these like strong black woman roles, and she just wanted to like do something scary, like way different for
Yeah,
her,
it's not scary.
and go completely like psycho and just have fun with the role.
Yeah.
No,
And
she has fun with it.
Yeah,
She's great in it, but
it just didn't take it that notch up that it really should have.
no, not at all. It's honestly, it's kind of a boring movie when she's not on screen. The teenagers all suck. You hate them.
They're teenagers.
Juliette Lewis is okay. She's pretty funny as the mom, and the fact that people always knew Juliette Lewis as like this crazy, free-spirited woman when she was younger. The fact that she's now this mom who's trying to keep her daughter under control is there's kind of a meta aspect there that's enjoyable, but yeah, there's not enough Ma. It kind of gets cool at the end when she's starts going crazy and
Finally
she, like,
starting to get the kids.
yeah, there's like
Does
that
she kill
scene in the
any of
trailer.
kids?
No, she doesn't kill any of the kids. She tries to. I thought she
Brutal.
did, and then they're like all still alive. I'm like, what?
Man,
No.
you're right. That is missed.
Yeah, she kills Luke Evans by filling him with dog blood
Right.
on her bed, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. I wanted it to be even more extreme, but
Like
Yeah.
sew a dog tail on him.
yeah,
and
do something
a
like
muzzle and
yeah, like cut off his arms and replace him with dog arms or something.
Yeah.
Like literally make him a dog.
that would be awesome.
That would be amazing. But
Like,
no,
what was that movie?
Did you think of that on the spot?
With
Yeah.
Justin Long. It was it Justin Long? It was like Walrus.
yeah,
Where they're trying to make him-
Tusk.
Tusk.
Yeah, do something like that. Come on.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I forgot about
But
that
yeah,
one.
at the end, I was just like, I like this character a lot. I hated her backstory because it was just so simple. She was
Right.
mad because in high school, Luke Evans' character humiliated her with like a 7 minutes in heaven type thing.
Right.
Where she thought it was him because she always had a crush on him, but it was a different guy in the closet, but she didn't recognize that it wasn't his voice at all.
Right.
And then people laughed at her, and apparently that just broke her for decades. I don't know. I didn't enjoy it,
Sorry, man.
but I liked Ma. She deserved so much better.
The B movie that could have been.
Yeah,
Same with
seriously.
Brightburn.
Sure.
Okay. Well, that's us caught up. Let's talk about teenagers these days.
Oh, yeah,
Speaking of
speaking
mod
of teenagers.
Those
You know what
darn
grinds my
teens.
gears about teens these days?
What, Cody?
They don't know what Men in Black is. The
okay.
film that launched Will Smith's career, they don't know what it is. What is going on?
I mean, at this point,
Obviously, we're not
it's-
talking.
There's
We're
less.
probably not talking about Men in Black specifically. We're talking about how, I
I'd
wonder.
love to talk about Men in Black.
Yeah.
Well, we can, but I'm wondering, like, is there like a set number of years that a movie has been out before it just stops coming up again?
Right.
If that makes sense, because we looked at Men in Black 1 was 1997.
Yeah.
Men in Black 2 was 2002. So, it's a good 20, 25, 20 years.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what? Say that again. Men in Black 2 was in
2002. Men in Black 1 was
2002.
97. So that's
years.
yes.
22 years.
yeah, 20 years.
Right. Okay.
That is like your guys' whole life.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is.
pretty much.
It is our whole life.
Oh my God.
So, I don't know. I'm just
Guys.
wondering how people discover their media, like the movies they get
Yeah.
into, because growing up, you don't only see new movies that come out in the theaters.
I have a
Your
feeling-
parents probably show you stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe you see something at a friend's house.
Mhm.
I'm just
I don't
wondering.
know. I don't know if you think about the time in a day, and like when I was growing up, to get out of the house, it was to go to movies
Mhm.
or to go to a friend's house. And when you went to a friend's house, what'd you do? You watched movies
Yeah.
and stuff. But now I think they've got apps on their phone. They've got video games. They've got so
No,
many other things
I get
they
that
could
there's
do.
more different types of media taking up the time, but when it comes to the actual like discovery of movies or TV shows or
I feel like they're trying to discover them on Netflix and Prime.
yeah,
but
maybe there's just too much content to
But the
sift
algorithms on those only give you the new stuff.
through. Algorithms.
I kind of feel like the algorithms give you the new original to those app movies. So they are discovering new movies, but they're like made for Netflix movies, or they are only getting movies from the theaters that come out that are new.
That's a good point. Well, it's weird because sometimes there's the occasional older movie that has a huge resurgence, usually through memes.
Right.
You know, like Shrek is. For some reason, Shrek 1 will be a truly eternal movie.
As it should.
It's a great movie.
Right.
It was a groundbreaking movie when it came out. But I guarantee you that a huge number of the people who love it now and like make and obsess over these memes now, they never saw it when it came out. They weren't even born.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't know what makes some things have like a second life or a third life, or what makes some things fade away. I don't know. It's just an interesting thing to think about.
I guess studios should kind of keep that in mind, that not every old property is going to be able to be resurrected.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm worried about that with Men in Black. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's really not that old, and it is still in the conscious. I am older than you guys, but not that much older. So, and I was around in 97.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I went and saw it in theaters. I don't think I did, but I am very familiar with it. And
Yeah.
I
at least
I
we're
saw when I
seeing
was-
like the marketing and people
Yeah.
were having that curiosity and
like
buzz
in my
to
mind, it's not 22 years old.
it. Yeah.
It's, I don't know. I feel like it's like when I talk about the 90s being 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like it's just not that old to me.
Well, maybe my
So-
parents just did a really good job of showing me a wide range of
Yeah, they
movies,
must have.
contemporary, older movies. I was also just really curious about movies in general. Like I was always curious. I was like, wow, there is a lot of movies. Like, so I like to look at the names, read the backs of the cases, you know, and then gradually that got more curious about, like, there's probably some that are considered better than others, and then that leads to another thing.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people don't do that.
Mm-mm.
So I'm just wondering, I don't know. I'm just wondering how people discover older media.
I think if they're not getting it from Netflix and stuff, which they're probably not, because they're not, the algorithms aren't bringing it up, and they're not getting it through their meme culture, then maybe like they get it through a current actor. You know, they're like, where were the films that he first got, or he or she first played in, and maybe there's some
that's a good
discovery through that. Like,
I mean,
through an actor?
I've experienced that through my parents. Like,
Mhm.
like there are actors that I really like, and then they're like, "What, you haven't seen?" Like, an example is Days of Thunder. I watched that not that long ago.
Yeah.
As I've always loved Tom Cruise in his movies as an actor growing up.
This is the race car one, right?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them, and you know, I mentioned that I'd never seen Days of Thunder. Like, what, Eric? You've never seen Days of Thunder? Like, Tom Cruise is so young in it. Like, okay, let's watch it.
Yeah. He is so young.
He has a unibrow.
Cool.
I guess that was
It was
in
the 80s.
1990.
Well, he shot in the 80s.
That was like the peak of him getting pampered by the Scientologist cult. But anyways, I forget where I was going with that. But yeah, I think people
find movies through actors.
people discover actors they like, and they're like, I wonder what else they've done.
I'm sure it's also like, okay, so we have Men in Black International coming out. And this whole discussion came up because our partner's daughter was like, what's Men in Black? So we're
I don't
like,
know anything
oh,
about it.
you
I don't know
have-
Will Smith's in it. What?
Yeah, you have to go see the first one. So some
Who's
of
a Will
that
Smith?
comes up.
What's a Will?
You can skip 2 and 3, but you have to see the first one, the thing that started it all.
Don't skip 3.
You can skip 3.
You can't.
You can totally skip 3.
If you just want to be confused about what you're seeing, you should watch 3.
Yeah.
It's a fine movie. It has,
it's fine.
It's not
It's fine,
great
but
all the way
it'll
through, but it
definitely
has
be
some
like,
very good parts. Anyways,
But I think the overall consensus is the best one is
yes,
number
obvious.
one.
Yes, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to remember how I even found the first one. I think I just found
Basically,
it on
the
TV
fact that
one
she
day.
didn't know what Men in Black was triggered a minor existential
she's 15.
crisis in our
How does
minds.
she not know what Men in Black is?
I did think about
I
it,
blame the
though,
parents.
And I mean,
Yeah.
for Eric and I, we did grow up with Men in Black, but we also were like really on the cusp of its popularity because we were.
Well,
like,
I don't know how
we were just
how big was Men in Black? Because there was the first one. The second one didn't come out until 5 years after the first one.
Right.
The second one was not very well received. People usually don't seem to like it.
It's not good.
So I'm wondering
Yeah.
just how big it was, or if it was just one of those pretty successful movies that came out that we just happened to see that had
It
a
made-
pretty cool premise.
it was-
500 mil in the United States.
I think it was very successful for in the 90s. It's
Yeah.
like up there with those iconic 90s movies like Independence Day and all those ones I kind of go back to. It's like, yeah, 90s,
More
I
Will
loved
Smith.
them. Space Jam.
Yeah.
But I think also it really launched Will Smith's career. So he got really big after that. I mean, he had
Yeah.
Independence Day. He had Men in Black.
Yeah, I guess you
You
do
know, he
kind
had
of
this
just
big-
equate it with Will Smith himself. It makes me wonder what movies have come out in the past several years that maybe we liked in theaters but don't really think about that much or didn't really pay much attention to afterwards that may or may not be the Men in Black of this next generation, where people like catch on. They're like, hey, remember that movie from when we were younger?
Kingsman?
Yeah. And then that gets like a second life.
But
Maybe.
it's
I don't know.
I
There's
think-
no way to tell.
Yeah, there's
There's
no
no
way to
way to
tell.
tell.
But I
I'm
think
just-
ours are harder.
I'm just thinking like the first one did so well, but the second one was not.
These are just some things I
They're still
think
gonna make
about.
more,
Like,
but-
okay, so 1997. Let's go this year. Like some movies that have come out this year that maybe we liked but didn't think too much of, that will be relevant in some way 10, 15 years down the road.
I hate to say it, but I don't think the Marvel movies, which have defined this last 15 years, are going to be super relevant.
Interesting.
That is interesting. I don't know, because I see a lot of people claiming like this is this generation's Star Wars. Like Endgame was a huge thing because this is like what it was when people saw Return of the Jedi, and it was the end of this epic journey.
The comparisons
No.
are the comparisons make sense now, obviously,
Right.
but Cody does make a good point. Like in the near future, will that
Well, yeah,
kind of be the same? But it's also to what you're saying too. Like
people always
we
talk
don't
about
have
like,
any way of measuring that.
people
really.
talk about like the end of monoculture and these things that everybody was experiencing at the same time. Like they said it when Game of Thrones ended. Like there's
Yeah.
never going to be another thing like Game of
TV
Thrones
show
because
like
at this
that.
point there's so many different content providers, each with their own huge amount of content
Right.
that there's so much to pick from that people may not just statistically line, like there may not be a lot of people into the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting going forward. I feel like it's just impossible to predict, but I don't know. Like He-Man and Transformers is like such a common thing for like mostly guys,
Yes.
but you know, some girls who grew up
I
in like
love
the 80s.
He-Man.
I
Yeah.
love this
Like
conversation.
so many people love those two things in particular.
Right.
Like my professor loved it. I've seen tons of like YouTubers who talk about it. A lot of my friends, some of my older friends, you know, those two things in particular. But now going forward, there's so much. It seems like there's just so much more that there's not going to be like a handful of defining
Well,
franchises or media.
when I was younger, we had up to maybe 5 channels that played kids stuff, and then they only played the same.
Yeah, it
few
makes sense why
cartoons.
everybody was in on those few
Yeah.
things, because that is literally what there was.
That's it. That was it.
But now there's endless things out there. So
Oh my gosh, my kids find so many things
it's
on.
like, where are you finding all these shows?
Yes, on Prime and Netflix, and I'm like, what is this? What are you watching? Like you
Breaking
have
Bad.
to- like my kid found a video that somebody made. It looks like a home video where they're in one of those blow up T-Rex costumes.
Yeah.
And they're jumping on a trampoline and they're playing and like they just think that's the greatest thing ever, and they keep watching this video and I'm like, why are we watching this? This is weird. Like
Yeah. Oh, you gotta be
Watch
careful.
He-Man.
You gotta be careful with that stuff, though. That was like a couple of years ago. That was a huge controversy with like
Yeah.
children's content on YouTube,
right,
leading them into rabbit holes of
Yeah.
like messed up
yeah.
stuff.
No, I have to
It's
constantly
scary.
watch it and like
Those algorithms.
It is those algorithms. It's weird. And then you watch one of those videos and then we have like 5 more that are like, oh, you want this?
Yeah, pretty soon the autoplay leads you to just some messed up stuff.
No. So we're constantly on it. And I keep trying to steer them back to things that I know are familiar with and I know are good. And they're just not interested in it. And it's very difficult. So
that would be frustrating.
we put the iPads away and we read books now.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Simple.
That's not a bad thing.
You know what another defining thing is? Like Dark Crystal and Goonies were always like my go-to things for when I went to my grandparents' house. And they're redoing a Dark Crystal series. It's like a prequel
Netflix.
series.
Yep.
Did you like the trailer?
I did, actually.
Nice.
I did. I was like, look at them. They look exactly the same. Like, it's pure, and I love it.
Yes. Pander to my nostalgia.
I did. I got excited.
And Men in Black is going, we hope there's nostalgia.
Yeah.
Please. I don't know. It's an interesting, complicated, weird, existential conversation.
Well, do you think this
media's
complicated,
just
existential, weird thing is going to be an effect on Men in Black International then?
Because
we were talking about
Men in Black
like,
just happened to be the
soon.
thing that spurred this idea in all of us because of that random thing that happened. I don't think Men in Black's gonna. I don't think it's gonna do anything. I don't think it was as big or as culturally relevant as we may think it was. Maybe we're conflating the fact that I think we're conflating the fact that we remember it pretty vividly from a very young age. I think we're assuming that because we do that it was this big thing that was like a zeitgeist sort of thing, and I just don't think it was.
Well, I think the first one was really good. I don't think the second and third one helped the series or brought new people onto it. So if you go back to just the first one, the people that love the first one, we said that's 22 years ago. Like that's so far. Like what so far in a gap for that I could see why the media is different, the humor is different, the culture is different.
Everything's different. It's only going to keep getting more different.
And
Sorry, you go first.
I was just going to say that's kind of the same thing with the third one too. Even like the third one was actually quite a while ago now, and even then, like it wasn't very well loved or well.
It's just
received.
like, they're
no
making
one really
a third
cared,
one.
Honestly,
okay, the second one was kind of garbage, but I guess if you want to do it again,
So it makes me wonder if if this one will even matter, since the third one didn't even matter.
I guess on the third one, I am like, yay, X-Men because I love it or Men in Black because I love it so much.
Yeah,
but I'm afraid now and getting close to it that they didn't do enough to make it different. Like just because you put 2 new actors in. And they're
like we just talked about,
one's black. It looks just like the first one. Like there's nothing that's different.
The reason, like we had just said, the first one took off. Probably a huge reason was because of Will Smith.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a star power vehicle, and the thing we see now is everything that was moderately successful is getting rebooted. It's getting brought back. There's a prequel. There's a spinoff. There's everything. And it's like, no, not everything is going to be successful again just because it was successful one time. There's lots of different reasons why things end up being successful.
And I really like Chris Hemsworth, and he is great in comedy.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
And at first, I was very excited that he got picked with Tessa Thompson because but I just, now the pairing doesn't seem good for me.
The pairing, it
seems boring.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't seem as yes, oh my God, we need this as it did at first, because now it's just kind of like, it's like, do we need this?
Do we need another Men in Black?
Yeah, I don't know. It's Men in Black was just the catalyst for all of this. I don't know.
It's just kind of unfortunate if that's going to be the case for Men in Black International, just because I remember like the trailers looked pretty solid. Like they looked like this was going to be a fun movie, and we're not saying like it's not a fun movie. Like we don't know yet, obviously, but as it just like keeps slowly coming to its release, we've kind of realized, oh yeah, it's coming out. Are we interested anymore? Like, is that?
I just don't think it's. I don't think it's going to be anything special. I don't think people really love. Well, people haven't maintained a love for this franchise.
Yeah.
It was a movie that was cool when it came out.
Cool in the 90s.
There's a difference between movies that are just huge event milestones that are, like Star Wars, Jaws, these huge things
Jurassic
that
Park.
not only were they everywhere and everybody was talking about them, but they're immortalized,
Right.
And then are movies that were cool, that did well when they came out and people liked them. but they don't remember them. But then when they think back, like, oh yeah, that movie was really cool. Let's show our kids it, you know. Like, I don't know. Will Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle? That was a runaway success that came out of nowhere. But is it gonna be this like timeless, immortalized event? Probably not.
No, because it's just a copy of the original one. The original one had the new unique idea. So this is just a fourth iteration of an idea. The first idea was really good and new. I think this is probably going into that whole, you know, like sequel-itis culture that we're getting in.
It is. It's, I don't know. It's just that the whole sequel rebrand nostalgia thing to me is inseparable from this constantly changing media landscape, which is also inseparable from the fact that there's just countless different shows and movies to choose from now. I know it's just all one big, ugly, weird, messy cloud of who knows.
Right.
It hurts my brain to think about, but I think about it a lot.
I just needed to get it out.
I'm excited for the Dark Crystal one, just because I want to see Gelflings again and more like a modern take.
Yeah, and you'll probably see and you'll be like, wow, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then
I'm not gonna let my kids
and then
watch.
it'll just fade away.
I did spend one morning. I got the iPad out and we were going through old trailers of all the movies that I liked as a kid, and my children were like not interested, and the Dark Crystal trailer scared them. They're
Movies,
a little young. But
trailers for old movies can be rough though.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember loving Willow. And I tried to watch that trailer, and I'm like, I loved this when I loved it.
Trailers have definitely gotten better.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
so
an
better.
objective fact.
Yeah.
My kids were not interested in Willow either.
Give them time.
I will.
Whew, that was a big existential talk.
Did we get that all out? Are we feeling okay?
I'll never get it all out.
No.
We should move on.
We should move on.
Do we want to talk about these trailers?
Yeah, let's just real quick talk about the Ford versus Ferrari, because that trailer was fantastic.
Yeah.
And Matt Damon and Christian Bale have this great chemistry. Their characters are awesome in it.
Have they ever been in anything before?
It's a car movie
together?
I don't think
No.
so.
Seeing them on screen, I feel like I'm like, how has this not happened before?
Right.
This has to. It's about time. So yeah, the cast is there. It's amazing. Everybody loves an underdog story.
Mm-hmm. Especially an American, like patriotic underdog story.
Hoorah!
Yeah.
I like cars, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I don't know. I mean, Days of Thunder was cool. I do like that. I'm probably one of the things I'm most excited about, because this is one of the things I gravitate towards, is that it's James Mangold's directorial follow-up to Logan, and I love Logan. Was an amazing movie, but this is just so like. He goes from a comic book movie about Wolverine to a true story about race cars. I'm like, whoa, okay, that's kind of a jump. Let's see how he does it. Oh. He didn't write this one, but based on the trailer, you know, the directing looks on point.
Acting is
awesome. The cast, they look incredible. The two of those guys are always amazing.
In the trailer, it didn't show the expanded scene where the head of Ford gets in the car, and because so the premise of the story is they're trying to create like a car to beat Ferrari in this big huge race.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what he said the race was.
Yeah, I don't have all this remembering
the
all
only
the details.
Sort of car race I know is Daytona, and that's not what
the Le Mans in France.
Yeah. And Ferrari had won like every year and just was blowing people out of the water, and they go to and Ford wants to win, but they go to this guy played by Matt Damon, and they're like, what do we need to do to make this win? He's like, well, I need like $2 million to build you this like brand new kind of car,
experimental prototype type thing.
And he's like, and there's only one driver I want, and that's Christian Bale's character. He's like, he's the best guy, but he's
and that's what he says, and it's Christian Bale.
It's Christian Bale. No, it's his character, and he's like
Ken Miles,
kind of a mess, alcoholic guy, and they're like, no, we don't want this with our investment, but they bring him on anyways because he's the best driver. So they've got this prototype car. And the head of Ford is like coming to go sit to test it out, and that's that.
He's not expecting much. He's like, okay, let's see what you guys have.
That's the scene at the end of the trailer where Matt Damon gets in the car and they like race around the track and they do like these cool drifting spins and all this, and the guy just cries like, and then he cries.
Just keeps going, and then he just turns into a full-on meltdown.
Oh my
great.
gosh, we saw an expanded scene of that at CinemaCon, and that was awesome. I was like, I can't wait to see this movie.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, it's still a trailer, so you're not going to see a whole lot. Everything's detached from context, but I like everything that we saw in it. Again, I can't stress how much I love the fact that Matt Damon and Christian Bale are going to be in a movie together. It looks like it's well made, and yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, it sold me on wanting to see this movie, even though I was already anticipating it, but it really did sell me here, and I think it's going to be selling for quite a bit of people, too.
Yeah, when does it come out?
November 15th.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna be a great like Thanksgiving film.
Yeah.
So great
It could be able
holiday
to do
picture.
the business that it needs to, that's for sure.
I think it'll be good for families. It'll be alternative programming to Frozen and Star Wars. Like it could play through all the holidays just for people that like want to take their dad or their grandparent to a film that's not Frozen or Star Wars.
Yeah, that's definitely possible, that's for sure.
So, well, on that
We'll see how
bombshell
it plays out.
we should.
There's not much to say about Ad Astra. It's an
Right.
outer space movie with Brad Pitt. That's all.
It looks weird.
I like space.
I was very curious about
I'll
this
watch
one,
anything
but it
that's
really
space.
didn't help me want to really see this that
Right.
badly, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
What was the one? It's like Jane looking from the sky or
Lucy in the Sky.
Lucy in the Sky. It's
Yeah.
not as weird as that one with Natalie Portman.
I still haven't even seen that trailer.
That trailer is just bizarre. And
Have they not dropped a trailer for that one
They
yet?
no,
have.
this trailer came out a while ago.
Oh, did it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have. That one it just looks out there, bizarre. This one at least looks a little bit more commercial, and Brad Pitt is more of a draw than,
Natalie Portman?
yeah. But
In nowadays, yeah.
nowadays, but I still, it's just okay. It's just okay.
It's just a trailer.
Just a trailer.
It does have It Chapter 2 before that, and then it has Rambo on the same weekend, but honestly, Ad Astra might be able, if it's not horrible, it might be able to...
Well, the guy
Get
behind it
by.
is a very celebrated filmmaker. He's
Yeah,
he's been to Cannes Film Festival. He's been nominated for the highest prize like 4 times.
James Gray?
Yeah. I don't think I've seen any of his stuff, but I know that he's a very
Oh, yeah, he did
respected
The Lost City of
individual in the industry. So
What did he do, Kyle?
The Lost City of Z, which is... That was a alright movie.
I didn't see that one.
Was
It had
Brad
Margot
Pitt in
and
that?
No.
Chiwetel, right?
What?
Oh, I'm thinking of World War Z.
No,
Wrong one.
So yeah, I mean that's really that, and the fact that I love space and I like Brad Pitt. You know, those 3 things are enough to make me interested in it.
As long as he doesn't put a bracelet on the moon, I'll be fine.
Ooh, I just rewatched
Oh.
First Man. Beautiful.
Your first man.
Okay, so
Whatever.
this weekend we have. I'm just gonna skip right over that. This weekend we have Dark Phoenix and we have The Secret Life of Pets 2.
Which Secret Life of Pets 2 is so cute, and I love Harrison Ford as Rooster, the dog.
Yeah,
I think it's getting a bit more love than the first one did. So
I've seen
that's
a
good
couple
sign.
I
things.
don't think it's going to be as good as the first one. Like,
it's probably gonna.
Like play out as good as the first
yeah,
one.
it doesn't have as many of the cute, fun scenes in it.
Really? Oh.
It's darling, and it's got great. I love Snowball in it. More than the kill all humans evil bunny, but yeah, it's just not as. It's
Well,
just
we'll
not
see.
as cute.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Eric's got a feeling.
No, I mean it's probably gonna take number 1.
Oh, for sure.
I think
mean,
so too.
especially after Kyle's thoughts on Dark Phoenix. It's like,
It'll be number 1 this week, and it'll do pretty good next week, but it's going to be killed by Toy Story the week after.
oh, absolutely.
Wow,
So
Toy
it's
Story
got
is
two
coming
good,
up.
Demolished.
It's got 2 good weeks to make money, and then it'll be demolished.
That should
by
be
Toy
enough.
Story.
So yeah, those are your 2 new releases this weekend. I wonder which one will be better.
I suggest Pets because it's so cute.
And yeah,
Surprisingly, I might agree with you. Go see
Yeah.
Pets.
so that's pretty much everything we have. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have
that's
to
all we have on the docket for today.
Go back to my desk and keep thinking about the future of media.
All right,
Give
rainy
myself an
day, Eric.
aneurysm. Hey, we gotta match the outside weather.
Get you a blankie and a coffee.
Well,
Go
all these
brood.
all
It's
these
not bad. It's just gonna philosophize.
all these movies and trailers that we talked about, they're all up at silverscreeninsider.com.
Right. Go check them out.
Yeah, please do. Tell everyone what we're all about. We're just trying to help out theater owners be able to market their theaters and do business, you know?
Make
That's
sense
the
of this
things that we
crazy
do.
industry.
And like we mentioned last week, we are going to be undergoing some changes. We've been busy here in the back end of the office figuring out new and exciting features to add to the site that will hopefully happen by the end of the year. So
Yeah.
we'll keep you posted on those.
I like it.
We
I like
might-
It's all coming together.
We might be coming out with a new logo.
Change.
Change. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see. But there you guys go.
All right. Have a good week.
Take it easy.